If Biden doesn't step down, don't you think your rhetoric in recent weeks dealing with this entire debacle will dissuade potential voters in your audience from just not going out to the voting booths? For one, I still tell my people to vote for Biden if Biden ends up being the nominee. For two, no, that's the Democrats' fault. The Democrats, like, forcing an unviable candidate on us and me desperately pushing for the thing that I think will help us beat Trump, and I'm at fault for this, that right there is coward language. Conciliatory bullshit moderates push on leftists to make them complacent, docile, and ineffective, you know? Never do anything. Anything you do, even if it's to the benefit of the Democratic Party, if it goes against the establishment narrative, then actually you're helping Trump. Well, you know what, motherfucker? Biden dropping out is becoming the establishment narrative. Every day, more and more and more Democrats, privately and publicly, co-sign the idea that he's too fucking old to run. I'm with the mainstream. I am the moderate Democrat. I am the Pelosi stan. You're the radical leftist. You're with the radical lunatics Ilhan Omar, AOC, and Bernie Sanders saying they stand behind Biden no matter what. I'm with Adam Schiff. I'm with Pelosi. I'm with Chuck Schumer. I am the establishment. Did you see Adam Schiff called for him to resign? Yep.
On the Hill is now calling on President Biden to drop out.
Huge deal.
We're back with some breaking news. One of the leading Democrats on the Hill is now calling on President Biden to drop out of the race. In an exclusive statement to the LA Times, California Congressman and Senate candidate Adam Schiff says he believes it is time for Biden to pass the torch and secure his legacy of leadership by allowing another Democrat.
The fact that they're still pushing for this after the assassination attempt is insane. Like, this is committed, dude. Don't ever let anyone gaslight you into thinking that the call for Biden to drop out is a purely super online lefty thing. There are like literally like the Democratic establishment is trying, you know? But at the end of the day, you know, ultimately it's up to Biden. Like, they can't force him out of the race. I mean, not without at least shenanigans that would be greater than any previous shenanigans before. I was worried that after the assassination attempt, they would back down. Bernie and AOC are behind him. Okay, Dusty Poncho, I've been biting the tongue on this one. I really didn't want to get into it. Honestly, can I say it? Bernie and AOC for kowtowing on this. Both of them have said in no uncertain terms, like, Biden is our nominee. Nah, both of you. I know you don't want to be like roped into the narrative of the lefty that like compromises Biden's perceived viability before a critical election, but holy shit, dude, you've got people like Pelosi that are trying to like get him replaced with Kamala. Have some stones. Come on. You know, I'm not one of those people who's like, anytime Bernie or AOC does anything conciliatory, I'm like, those guys, I abandon them. I'm not one of those guys, but like, no, you guys gave in way the too early. Bernie Sanders penned a whole article on it.
To beat Trump. That new call comes just as NBC News learns that the president has had enough with the questions about his mental acuity and whether he should stay in the race, as he privately conveys the conversations about his future.
Were they militant on defending Biden? They both actively made direct statements about falling behind Biden and pledging their support to him, that he's going to be the candidate. Like, there was no unambiguous like, oh well, we need to accept him if he's the guy who ends up being in charge. You know, there was none of that. Like, if he ends up being the front runner, then we have no choice but it was very direct. It was a call for other people to be quiet. I don't get the rationale. My guess is that they were concerned about the appearance of being like a weakness from the left. Like, they don't want to contribute to the idea that the left is undermining Biden in this election. I think they were overzealous in avoiding that accusation.
Being over. A senior Biden aide says, they tell us they've got a good plan to fight through this. But that fight is coming up against brand new polling from the Associated Press that shows nearly 2/3 of Democrats want Biden to withdraw from.
This is great, man, by the way. This is fantastic. I look at this and I say, yes, it was the sane, moderate, offline, reasonable decision to stick with Biden, to completely deny us a primary, to run him through, to deliberately like keep him from the public and prevent him from making that many public appearances and have him rely entirely on his teleprompter so people didn't realize how lost he was.
The race. NBC's Mike Memoli is reporting from Las Vegas. Also with us, Eugene Daniels, political White House correspondent and an MSNBC political contributor. Mike, as Biden's patience wears thin, we're learning his inner circle is shrinking, and now we're hearing yet another member of Congress is saying it's time for him to drop out. Put all of that in perspective for us.
Well, this new call from Adam Schiff, who, of course, is running for the Senate in California, is significant for a number of reasons. He's one of the most strongest fundraisers in the party, also very close with the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So he can be seen as sort of a bellwether for what other senior Democrats might also be thinking. And as part of this comprehensive snapshot of Biden's thinking at the moment, led by Carol Lee and Monica Alba, we unpack a number of things, including the frustration on the part of the president that's been becoming more evident as he's been reaching out to members, especially in these different House caucuses. At first, these calls were largely conciliatory, the president acknowledging his poor debate performance.
To be honest, I don't know if our reasons are the same as the establishment DNC, if I'm honest. Normally, I would share your concern, but in this specific respect, I don't think there's any possible hypothetical motivation for calling Biden to drop out other than they genuinely think that he will lose against Trump and they think Kamala has a better shot. I don't think there's any other edge case. That's the only outcome, right? The only other thing that I could think of would be the opposite position. They think Biden will win against Trump, but Kamala will lose, which is to me incoherent. It wouldn't make sense as a motivation. I don't see that. So I think in this respect, it's just everyone across the board is worried about Biden, and it's just about convincing him to step the down. We're running out of time, man. The convention's coming up. The RNC's now. The DNC's going to be soon. We're almost there.
And asking for and getting some feedback, but that feedback has become more blunt, more direct as those calls have continued. And the president, as we understand it, was responding in kind during some of the calls that took place last weekend. Now, we're also learning that the president is relying increasingly on he has a large circle of advisors that's grown since he's reached the White House.
Yeah, what's the Biden cultist response to this going to be? Oh, Schiff, Adam Schiff is a militant leftist. What are they coming out with? What do they say to this? Everyone, Pelosi, all of them.
But in this moment of sort of political crisis, he's leaning especially heavily on those who've been with him the longest, people like Steve Ricchetti, Mike Donnellan, who've guided him since his days as vice president. You heard some of the president's energy, some of his fight during the conference he spoke at here in Las Vegas yesterday to the NAACP, even invoking biblical verses. Let's take a listen to what the president said here yesterday.
I've been young and now I'm old. Yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken. I have not seen the righteous forsaken.
Okay.
And I will not see the righteous forsaken. Hopefully, with age, I've demonstrated a little bit of wisdom.
That tone of defiance from the president as he is speaking here in Las Vegas to some of what the campaign calls the backbones of the Democratic Party and of Biden's coalition. Black voters yesterday, Latino voters today here at the Unidos conference. We expect over 1,500 people in attendance.
Oh, do we have the whole... We have a whole list now of calls to get Biden down? Rep. Adam Schiff, Mike Levin, Brittany Pedersen, Eric Sorensen, Scott Peters, Jim Himes, Ed Case, Greg Stanton, Brett Schneider, Hillary Schulten. Yeah, they got everyone lined up. Adam Smith, Lloyd Doggett, who was the first, the trendsetter.
I didn't originally ran, you may remember it. I said I was going to be a transitional candidate. And I thought that I'd be able to move from this to pass it on to someone else.
He's admitting the initial plan was one-term president.
But I didn't anticipate things getting so divided. And quite frankly, I think...
What does that even mean? What does things getting divided? Is this like an acknowledgement of this underlying liberal delusion that Donald Trump was just a flash in the pan and that his presence and his behavior wasn't indicative of any systemic issues with the GOP? He thought that Trump will just go back to hosting television shows and the next Republican candidate will be like John McCain or whatever. I didn't expect things to get so divided. January 6th happened 14 days before you were sworn in.
The only thing age brings a little bit of wisdom. And I think I've demonstrated that I know how to get things done for the country, in spite of the fact that we told we couldn't get it done. But there's more to do, and I'm reluctant to walk away from that. I originally ran, you may remember it, I said I was going to be a transitional candidate. And I thought that I'd be...
If I recall correctly, there are about 140 Dem reps backing Biden and 20 calling for Biden to step down at the moment in Congress. Yeah, but that's what they're willing to publicly admit. Backing Biden is the default position as more and more people step forward to say that they think that Biden should step down in favor of Kamala Harris. That position will get more popular. 100% it will. Like, by the way, 20 is already a huge number. Like, this isn't the Republican Party. We don't have like a crazy MAGA group in here fighting with Mike Johnson or whatever. Like, Biden's not meant to be polarizing within his own party. God only knows how much is getting discussed internally, you know? Can it even be done in this amount of time? If the French leftist coalition is capable of creating itself, unifying, collaborating with Macron centrists, and then beating Le Pen in like 2 weeks, then yeah, I think that we have 3.5 months before the election. I think that's enough. Why are American elections so slow? Because our elections are like our people, slow, okay? Apparently, Biden is unable to reassure Dems in private. This is just from today. Biden held tense call with group of White House Democrats over concerns he can't win. Love this dynamic, by the way. It's going to be like this, but worse every day to the election if he sticks around. Every single day, more and more news drops about increasing tension and uncertainty and doubt within the Democrats. Every day, the topic of conversation being Biden's perceived incompetence, his inability to run. That's great. That's great news, you know, right before an election.
President Biden, he's on the trail in Nevada, but still facing pressure from Democrats to step aside. Some are now pushing for the option to replace him as the nominee. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is in Las Vegas with the latest. Good morning, Mary.
George, good morning. Well, President Biden is hitting the trail hard out here, pledging he is all in on this race. But this morning, a push to formally make Biden the nominee in the coming days has some Democrats saying, not so fast.
Overnight, President Biden firing up the Democratic Party's base.
I'm a lifetime member of the NAACP. And I am all in.
Glad handing as he reaches out to critical Black and Latino voters, with polls showing signs their support is slipping. All as he fights to show doubters in.
Hey, not to invoke stereotype here or anything, you know which candidate would probably do a pretty good job securing the Black vote?
In his own party,
That's right, Obama.
He has what it takes to beat Donald Trump.
The only thing age brings a little bit of wisdom.
Biden telling BET overnight that he can't walk away now with the country so divided.
I think I've demonstrated that I know how to get things done for the country. There's more to do, and I'm reluctant to walk away from that.
Back on the trail for the first time since the attack against Trump, he's urging Americans to cool down the political temperature, but not shying away from drawing a sharp contrast.
Now,
They literally dropped attack ads against Trump.
just because we must lower the temperature in our politics and relate to violence, it doesn't mean we should stop telling the truth.
Biden fired up, but some in his party still not convinced. Even allies like California Congressman Adam Schiff privately warning donors over the weekend in audio obtained by ABC News that Biden could hurt Democrats' chances.
I do not think he is the best person to...
Talking to the donors, too. Not even just a public statement, but privately warning donors? Jesus Christ.
go into this election. I think if he is our nominee, I think we lose.
And this morning, some Democrats are uneasy with the party's plan to formally nominate Biden in a virtual roll call in the coming days.
If you ask me, this was leaked intentionally. If it was, I think that's a good strategy. I don't think we win with Biden. Anything that can be done to oust him in favor of Kamala Harris needs to be done. Like any rat within the Dems, we lose either way. I don't think Biden wins. Maybe he does. I can't see the future, but I don't think he does. Getting Kamala there is our best hope. We're fighting against institutional inertia here. I don't know why I take my earbud out whenever I talk.
Weeks ahead of the convention in Chicago next month. In a letter obtained by ABC News, some House Democrats calling for a delay, arguing that holding the nominating vote this early would be stifling debate and prematurely shutting down any possible change in the Democratic ticket, calling it a terrible idea that could deeply undermine the morale and unity of Democrats at the worst possible time.
The unity of the Democrats is already undermined, man, through your age. Like, it's already done.
And this morning, for the first time since he was announced as Trump's running mate, we are hearing from Vice President Kamala Harris about J.D. Vance. In a new video just out,
Yeah, we'll do that later. 1 hour before the assassination attempt on former President Trump, Joe Biden was in the midst of a heated phone call with moderate House Democrats. The Zoom call, according to multiple sources, did not go well for the president. The call was between the new Democrat coalition, which includes a mix of nearly 100 moderate and some progressive adjacent members, and Biden, and focused mostly on members' concerns about Biden's ability to win the election. That's great. One House Democrat on the call told ABC News that Biden was not prepared for questions, that he gave rambling responses without answering questions and downplayed their concerns. Again, one House Democrat, this isn't like a random staffer. This is an elected House Democrat. This is the congressperson. Members were largely dismayed with Biden's presentation, lack of a strategy, and preparation for anticipated questions, according to sources. He was also late to the call by about 30 minutes. Crow questioned Biden's mental fitness and asked if his age is a national security risk. That's the state the party is in currently. You have Democratic reps directly asking the president if they feel their age is a national security risk. That's the level of, this is like an internal, guys, it is more than 20 House Democrats who are against Biden running. Like, I promise you. My guess would be that it's closer to 50-50 internally. Within elected Democratic representatives, at the federal level, my guess is it would be closer to 50-50. And if it's not 50-50, I think it's more against Biden running than in favor. A lot of them probably just don't think there's any chance of change. Please stop with the silent majority shit. We don't believe it from conservatives. I'm not believing it from you. Who the f is we, Bear Tornado? I'm a leftist. What the f are you? Who's we? Vosh, no, this is conspiracy territory. 58 trillion subsequent, well-substantiated pieces of evidence that the party's falling apart over this question isn't evidence that the party's falling apart over this question. The fact that every single day Biden's out there desperately, unsuccessfully shoring up these concerns with representatives from the Democrats, that doesn't mean anything. Come on, man. Yeah, I'd be late to a call too if it was with a bunch of whiny assholes. Christ. Are you kidding me? The centrist moderate Democrat coalition being concerned about Biden's viability? That's just what, bro, you're in a cult. You're in a cult, dog. You're like a Trump supporter, man. You're crazy. The horseshoe is complete. Yeah. Wondering if this guy has the neoliberal globe in his Twitter handle. The conversation became personal when Biden mentioned Crow's Bronze Star and attempted to bring up his son Beau, the member said. Two sources described Biden's exchange with the former Army Ranger as incoherent and unintelligible. One member suggested to ABC News that members on the call were left aghast after this particular exchange, with members shaking their heads, some with their hands in their faces in apparent shock. It's going well, man. It's going well. One member confirmed to ABC News the accuracy of the following comments from Biden aimed towards Representative Crow. You saw what happened recently in terms of the meeting we had with NATO. I put NATO together. Name me a foreign leader who thinks I'm not the most effective leader in the world on foreign policy. Tell me who the hell that is. Tell me who put NATO back together. Tell me who enlarged NATO. Tell me who did the Pacific Basin. Tell me who did something that you've never done with your Bronze Star like my son. And I'm proud of your leadership, but guess what? What's happening? We got Korea and Japan working together. I put AUKUS together anyway, he said. Things are in chaos, and I'm bringing some order to it. And again, find me a world leader who's an ally of ours who doesn't think I'm the most respected person they've ever, he said. Wow, he kind of sounds crazy a little bit. He sounds like a belligerent, egotistical old man who, like, can't take criticism. Is this how he talks in private? Like, in public, he puts on the, like, you know, steely-faced, I will not back down facade, but in reality, he's just belligerent and old? Biden also called on members of Congress to do a better job of promoting his successes. This is indicative of health and well-being within the party. When you're talking to reps within your own party, asking them to be nicer to him. Sources tell ABC News that were it not for the assassination attempt against the former president, multiple Democrats were potentially ready to call for Biden to step aside after the call ended. This is grim, man. This is yeah, it's like this is like Biden's like the grandparent who you have to like be the one to tell them that they need to have their driver's license taken away. You know? It's only going to get worse. The sooner Biden steps aside and Kamala Harris takes his place and she picks her VP, the better off we're all going to be. Like we are running into, it's only going to get worse, man. We've got multiple debates between Trump and Biden scheduled in the future. We've got more and more is going to happen. The violence and rhetoric from the right is going to ramp up, and Biden is not going to be able to respond to it. There's going to be more gaffes, more embarrassments. It's only going to get worse. There's only one way out. If it all works out, if Biden resigns the presidency, sorry, not resigns the presidency. Someone in chat just suggested it, which I don't agree with. If he drops out and Kamala Harris takes over and she wins, the Democrats who called for him to leave will be thought of as heroes. They will be recognized both contemporarily and by history. The people who stepped up against inertia and made a tough public decision and quite potentially saved America. And if she loses, we won't be alive to complain about them. Yeah, if she loses, it'll be funny. You guys need to consider the positive angle from every side, okay? Let's not be doomer here. If Biden doesn't step down, don't you think your rhetoric in recent weeks dealing with this entire debacle will dissuade potential voters in your audience from not going out to the voting booths? For one, I still tell my people to vote for Biden if Biden ends up being the nominee. For two, no, that's the Democrats' fault. You kidding me? The Democrats, like, forcing an unviable candidate on us and me desperately pushing for the thing that I think will help us beat Trump, and I'm at fault for this? No, that right there is coward language, conciliatory bullshit moderates push on leftists to make them complacent, docile, and ineffective. You know, never do anything you do, even if it's to the benefit of the Democratic Party, if it goes against the establishment narrative, then actually you're helping Trump. Well, you know what, Biden dropping out is becoming the establishment narrative. Every day, more and more Democrats, privately and publicly, co-sign the idea that he's too old to run. I'm with the mainstream. I am the moderate Democrat. I am the Pelosi stan. You're the radical leftist. You're with the radical lunatics, Ilhan Omar, AOC, and Bernie Sanders saying they stand behind Biden no matter what. I'm with Adam Schiff. I'm with Pelosi. I'm with Chuck Schumer. I am the establishment.
That's on that breaking Menendez news that we've just been involved in here. And as we see, of course, the president continues to remain defiant. He ignored reporter questions on that when he was in Vegas.
Biden is tested positive for COVID and had to cancel a speech today, right after Axios reports that Biden said he might drop out if the doctors diagnose him with something. Oh, hold on. It's Aaron Rupar. He's a moron, not a shit poster. This is literally from 1 minute ago. Like, even if this doesn't kill him, and he's pretty old, but he is also the president, so they got the good medicine. This could this could be weeks or months of being functionally unable to talk, you know? For this to happen literally right after he reports that he would drop out if he was diagnosed with something, it's potentially huge also because this does give him the ability to make a clean exit, you know? If one of the main issues is like Biden's ego and the inertia and him doing that grumpy old man, you can't take away my driver's license, him getting COVID, I mean, this gives him a graceful out. And I bet you behind the scenes that all of the Democrats who have been quietly panicking over his inability to run are now thinking, okay, this is how I can frame it now. They're like, Mr. President, I've been with you this entire time, and I think you had the sauce to beat Donald Trump. But with COVID, with your inability to talk right now, I don't know if it's possible. Like, they have an in.
The polls are not are what's going to decide this about who's in and out of the race. But Joe Biden is our nominee. He's going to be our nominee. And eventually where people are going to unify around him dude, if this Chrome Dome eventually, you know, ignore the fact that every subsequent poll, every day, more and more people doubt his viability. One day,
they'll all unite around him. You know, inevitability. Look, okay, with the finality of the understanding the sun must set on a nice day, you will all come to your senses and you will accept this octogenarian, arrogant, COVID-stricken is going to be your best shot at preventing this country from being turned into a dictatorship. All right? That's how it is.
All right, we do have breaking news about President Biden's nomination vote. Leader Schumer and Leader Jeffries both pushing the party to delay the nominating process. Now, let's get straight to our senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
This has been the single biggest day for the Biden dropout crew yet, like by a massive margin. In a single day, we have Biden getting COVID, Schumer and Jeffries trying to push back the date of the nomination, a report that Schumer directly told Biden to drop out, and Adam Schiff directly telling him to drop out, and Biden saying that was reported by Axios that he would drop out if diagnosed with a medical condition. And then, of course, immediately afterwards, he gets COVID. This has been the single biggest day for him getting him dropping out so far by a huge margin.
She is with the president on the trail there, the campaign trail in Las Vegas. Selena, just bring us up to date. What do you know about this delay in nomination?
Yeah, look, well, we know that the DNC has agreed to somewhat delay this virtual nomination process from originally as early as this Sunday now to August 1st. As you say, you have top-ranking Democrats also calling for that delay. There were serious concerns within the party that they were rushing through with this nomination. There was a draft letter circulating.
Do be clear. The only reason a Democrat official would call for a delay is because they want Biden gone. Wanting to rush through the nomination, that means they want Biden to stay. Wanting to delay it, that means they want him replaced. That's it. There's no other edge case to this. That is why they want that. A push for the delay is a push against Joe Biden.
Among some Democrats that was basically saying this is undermining the morale in the party and that they wanted more time to debate this and figure out if President Biden is the best person to be at the top of the ticket. And we've got a major new development, Kira, here when it comes to these public calls for President Biden to step aside. You now have Representative Adam Schiff, who's one of the highest profile Democrats, publicly calling for President Biden to drop out of the race. Now, Kira, this is a really big deal and it's a big blow to President Biden.
Is Harris guaranteed? This little boy right here is the one who gave him COVID. God bless you. God bless you, son. You have done a greater service to America than any war hero, any veteran. Is that a boy? I don't know. Gender's a social construct. It's 2024. I don't know. It's a kid. God bless you, kid.
Because he's a longtime supporter of the
Get
president.
That kid
and
an
he's
ice
also
cream.
a very close
You've
ally
earned it.
of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So I want to read to you the statement because this is important. He says, quote, "A second Trump presidency will undermine the very foundation of our democracy. And I have serious concerns about whether the president can defeat Donald Trump in November. While the choice to withdraw from the campaign is President Biden's alone, I believe it is time for him to pass the torch. And in doing so, secure his legacy of leadership by allowing us to defeat Donald Trump in the upcoming election." So, Kira,
are you sure they aren't wanting a certification to be delayed so he can attend after he presumably recovers from COVID? No, because this was before the COVID announcement.
Representative Schiff is saying out loud what many Democrats have been saying in private. But the president, of course, is still plowing ahead with his campaign. He is adamant he is staying in this race. He's going to take the stage behind me soon here in Las Vegas, shoring up support with key constituencies. And today he's reaching out to Latino voters.
And then, of course, he got COVID and couldn't. How many people have been like publicly aggressively?
For Biden, better for the Democratic Party, and better for the country if he were to bow out of the race. And David, when I went to Schumer's office to ask them to tell them I was going to report this and tell you this.
Dude, if Pelosi, Schiff, Schumer, and Jeffries all come out publicly, there's no way. There's no way, man. There's no way.
Absolutely no denial from Senator Schumer's office. They only said this: Leader Schumer conveyed the views of his caucus. In other words, the views of
Dude, they questioned Schumer on it, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just repping my whole squad, actually."
Democratic senators. I am also told that Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House, has expressed similar views directly to the president.
He told donors directly that Biden was a bad choice. It could, like, this could genuinely be it. This could genuinely be it. It could be within a week or two, or at the very least, like, the cards are falling, man. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Like, who else? Who does Biden have if Pelosi, Schumer, Jeffries, and Schiff are all calling for him to drop out? Now, Pelosi's not going to come out and publicly say it, but we know at the very least she's having conversations. What will you have in 500 years? Yeah. That works because Biden's about that old. We're at a breaking point, man. Look, I hope we can all agree that what matters most here is that I don't come out of this looking like a fool, okay? I have been a loud and militant advocate for Joe Biden dropping out since the moment that debate happened. I'm sticking to it. I'm so disgusted by your shit show, CNN, and what you're doing to Biden. I will never tune in again. It's been off since the debate, and it's staying off. CNN is turning into Fox Light. The media is so desperate. Love to see all of these, blue MAGA motherfuckers who are acting Get your grubby, filthy hands off me. I'm not your ally. Live update from the CNN text feed. The private conversations with the Hill are continuing as senior Democratic advisor tells CNN, speaking in condition of anonymity to avoid alienating the campaign in the White House. He's being receptive, not as defiant as he is publicly. He's gone from saying Kamala can't win to do you think Kamala can win, the advisor said. It's still unclear where he's going to land. But he seems to be listening. Dude! He's got the COVID brain fog. He's in a diminished state. This is the chance. Give him the paper and pen. Yes, Mr. Biden, we just need your signature on this paper really quick. Senior Democratic advisor. Jeff Zeleny knows who it is.